Planes, Trains, and Canes presents Back to You with Dr. Mona Minkar.
Welcome to Back to You, where we interview friends and fans of Planes, Trains, and Canes.
And now we're here with my friend, Hoby Wedler, who's also a blind chemist like me. I've known him for a long time, but he also now is an entrepreneur and works in the, what would you call it, Hoby? The food and
drink space.
Yeah, he's a strategist, believe it or not. It's
flavor
pretty
strategist.
cool work.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about that, actually, Hoby.
Well, Mona, first of all, it's really great to be working, doing this interview with you on such a great topic. And I do consider you one of my very, very dear friends. So it's always an honor when we get to sit down and talk with each other. So I do some interesting, I do a lot of things. My career is very sort of widespread, and it's a little strange. I don't have any one thing that I do. I sometimes wish that I did, but well, I shouldn't say that I ever wish anything. I'm very happy with what I have going. But I do a lot of work as a sensory strategist, really understanding flavors, aromas, and textures of products, food, and any food and drink product, and helping people who make those products make them even better by just enhancing the flavor. And oftentimes we allow them to make them cheaper as well. And Mona, I haven't told you this yet, but I'm rolling out a brand new company called Hoby's. I've rebranded myself completely. Hoby's on one side sells services, which is this flavor strategy, sensory strategy, as well as some of the strategy work that you and I are doing together. I do that for small businesses because I've done it for myself, so I might as well help other people do it now. And then on the product side, we sell products that so that work on the services side makes really, my goal is to allow people to become more perceptive. When they become more perceptive, it's like a chemical reaction. Perception leads to or yields appreciation. And you know, Mona, that when we really appreciate things, that's when we're able to be successful and achieve things. So
well, I have to be honest with you. When you took me on a tea tasting experience, it was something else. And so
it was awesome. Yeah. And then on the product side of things, we're coming out with all sorts of products. We're starting with seasonings that enhance flavor and basically accelerate happiness in the consumer. So
that's amazing.
So we're happiness accelerators.
So for everybody out there, for our audience, Hoby Wedler uses his chemistry to just make people a little bit happier. I mean, how cool is that?
That's all there is to
strategy. It's not something I definitely think about, but I hope that was a new window into something new. So before we dive in, or actually, let's just dive in. I'm bringing you here today, Hoby, because you're an awesome person, but also because hopefully, you have a connection with Planes, Trains, and Canes, a project that I started. Yeah, go ahead.
Mona, I think Planes, Trains, and Canes is awesome. I think the world of it. I think it's incredible. I love the videos. I love how raw they are. Like you're not worried about, say whatever you do, whatever you like. It doesn't have, you don't worry about stuff. And it's just like, it's so refreshing to see this, just the truth of you traveling through foreign cities.
Yeah, well, I definitely, I feel like I grew a lot through it. Like I had to be at peace with getting lost.
100%. And you did it with such class, and you just did it. You were real. It was totally you. And that's one of the things that I love about it. And of course, the fact that you're my friend doing this really, really cool thing is like awesome. So
Hoby, tell me this, other than, loving it because you're my friend, is there like a deeper sense of connection with the project? Did you feel like, I don't know, yeah, go ahead.
100,000% there. I have a deeper connection to it because I'm a blind guy who loves to travel, and I love to go to places that I've never been before, and people always say, well, how do you do that? How does a blind person do that by themselves? And what I have now is a way of saying, look at my friend Mona, look at what she's done. So like for me, it was amazing because it's like someone is finally capturing how we do this and showing the world that it's okay to get lost. Most people really freak out when you like tell them that, yeah, I don't mind getting lost. It's like, what? How can that be? And you just show the world that it's okay. It's okay. And we figure it out. And it's just problem solving. And you show that like so well. So I think for me, the deep connection, if I'm to sum it up into just a few words, the deep connection for me with the program is that you're teaching people that it's okay to be themselves, that it's okay to not know everything right away. And it's frankly okay to explore.
How do you feel like the show tells people to be themselves? How do you feel like that gets through?
I think it's very clear to me. It's because you are authentic, you are real, and you are yourself. And you just walk up to people and you're not afraid to say, hey, how do I, where am I? Hey, what do you meet people as you do it? So it's like, dude, if you can do it, why can't all of us?
Yeah,
and you're just yourself.
Exactly.
Mona, that's what I love about, that's one of the many things that I love about you is that you are totally okay being 100% you. You are so comfortable in your skin and it shows. That's why I think this show is such a, are we calling it a show or a program? What are we calling it?
I don't know, series, show, whatever you want to call it. Like we
I'll
landed
call it
on
a series.
travel series.
Travel series. I like that. But you're just like, and you embody this in your chemistry, but also in this series is that you're just you and you're totally fine with being you. And, people who like you. And that's, it's that simple. What's that?
I said, and people who don't, and that's all good.
Exactly. I didn't, you said it, not me, but it's so true that like, it's fine. You're you.
Yeah,
it's
no,
beautiful.
I mean, that's a really astute observation. I tried to make sure that I was going through this experience and to be as present as I can be, and interact. And I want to put it out there too for sighted folks. It's not just blind people that need to be okay with getting lost. It's sighted people too. It's just like everyone.
And Mona, let's take that one step further. And we might get physically lost. It's okay to get lost a little bit, turned around in terms of like figuring out what you want to do, in life, figuring out who do you want to spend your time with. Like, it's okay to ask these questions and explore. That's, you know what it is, Mona, about that series? You know what it is? What? You are just so okay with exploring and not knowing what's going to happen in 30 seconds, but just you have a goal, but you're just fine letting your guard down and exploring.
Hoby, something that drives me and that connects, you might think on the outset that planes, trains, and canes is so different than being a professor of bioengineering, but really at the root of both of them is this deep sense of curiosity. And then when I figure something out, I get really excited and I want to share it with the whole world. So,
love it.
So it's the same thing.
You and I are so similar in that regard. And what else I would say is that when we challenge ourselves and succeed at those challenges, man, we feel so powerful. We could do anything in the world.
Yeah, agreed. Hoby, when I first figured out how to get to Johannesburg and did the connection in Atlanta without help, I was like, whoa, God. I could do anything.
So let me ask you a little bit about that trip in particular. You did not get help from anyone at the airport.
In Atlanta. So this is what I wanted to show is that different episode had different moods, I was exhausted by Japan time and I was like, I'll get help. But in Atlanta, I wanted to try it out on my own.
God, so because I saw that episode, but you were literally, that was you with nobody with you walking from domestic to international and figuring it out.
Yeah, I was just asking. I rode they call it a plane train or train plane.
I saw you do that. And I wasn't sure if you had someone with you. Wow. And then was it a direct flight from Georgia to Johannesburg?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
That must have been
a 16-hour flight where I'm just bored.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Yeah, it's amazing. That series is like, it's so meaningful for people to see this deep curiosity.
So my next question for you, Hoby, is do you feel like you learned something new from it? And do you feel like something, I don't know, there was like a new conclusion that you derived from watching it?
There is, and I remember
Really?
it every day. Yep. And the conclusion is very simple, but it took me watching a few of your episodes. I got it pretty early on, to be honest with you. That sort of learning for me was, okay, this is, you know, we can figure out, like, the world for us as blind people
Yeah.
is limitless with the right mindset.
Yeah, it took me, I figured that one out through experiencing it too.
And what's
I,
funny is I've taken that to the bank, Mona. When I'm coaching people, when I'm doing anything, it's like it is all about mindset.
yes, it is all about mindset. I remember traveling and being like, wow, I'm free. And then I remember learning I'm not free because I'm traveling. I'm free because I've decided to be. And
100%.
and that's something that actually this project helped me also realize. Like it wasn't
Gosh.
I don't know, it's not like I woke up before, like when I was a kid and be like, freedom is a state of mind. No, like
Right.
that takes a while. And this project really helped me realize that too, actually.
Did you notice at some points, like when you were super tired, when you got to Japan and that sort of thing, your mindset faltered a little bit and it made things a lot harder?
I feel like I got exhausted. I'm trying to remember. I don't remember exactly the faltering of being free. I actually got really comfortable in Japan. I stopped caring as much about how I appeared, and I just Japan is when I started to really roast myself on camera. I was just like not able to do math, I couldn't tell north from south. Like it was just like it was a trip. But
That
were
was
there any
awesome.
moments that you felt? Yeah, go ahead.
No, it's just awesome. That's what I was gonna say.
Are there scenes, Hoby, that like struck a chord with you, that resonated with you, or even made you laugh?
Oh, the whole thing. You just have a great sense of humor throughout the whole thing. So the whole thing really, really resonated with me. And like walking through the train station, the subway station in London, and like, playing hearing the different sounds, and you just taking all the clues in that you could. And I have to tell you that Atlanta scene of like you just figuring it out. Like airports are really confusing. And I think honestly, I think as a fellow blind person, it might have been even more meaningful to me because I like know how hard those are.
Yeah.
And seeing you just sort of say, hey, I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to ask people. And yeah, for me, it wasn't like any particular scene because the whole thing was funny. The whole thing was like hilarious. And I just liked how candid you were and like kind of not self-deprecating, but like laughing at yourself and making fun of yourself when you said in Japan. That was like, it was just cool. That's that raw thing that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It was not staged. Nothing about it was staged.
No, it was real life unfolding. And I planned none of it other than the actual, I'm going to go to this city. I didn't know which trains I was supposed to get. I didn't know.
I know. I love it.
Like I went to Japan not knowing all the different accessibilities, and it was really cool for us to unfold it on camera. Like, oh my God, every train had a different melody, or the sound crossing this way is different than this way. Oh, it's connected to north, south, east. Like it was just like uncovering the world.
And for me, seeing you uncover, like remove those layers of the onion one at a time was awesome. Especially like Japan. The one that did it most for me was, London was the first one you published, right?
It was actually Johannesburg.
Johannesburg was the first one. So yeah, I got really into it. And Johannesburg, I've watched them all. Johannesburg is great. I got really into it in London. And then in like Japan, watching you sort of learn the world, what I couldn't help but think about is how we learn as blind kids by feeling and examining, and just like the world sort of unfolds for us in the most beautiful way. And I saw that happen really in Japan.
Yeah, it was Japan was like so much fun. And it was the last leg of my trip. And I literally went around the globe. Like my flights started out in Boston, and we, went Johannesburg, London, Istanbul, Singapore, Tokyo, flew over the Pacific, kind of back to Boston. It was just like I went around the globe. It was unbelievable.
You circumnavigated.
I did.
Oh my gosh. Mona, I actually, because I'm a super curious person, I want to ask you, what's your favorite thing that you ate while on this trip?
Oh, good question, Hoby.
Do you have one?
Oh, favorite thing that I
or top three, whatever, like just some really good
I'll tell you about like favorite experiences of eating. So
yeah,
I really enjoyed the afternoon tea at Harrods in London. I had never done that, and I had never eaten like 10,000 little things all at once. Like it was just like so many little sandwiches.
Oh my gosh.
I think I giggle on camera for that. The next was I really enjoyed the food in Istanbul too. I don't know if we have any of that on camera. I'm trying to think. Oh, I remember I enjoyed drinking tea at top of Maiden Tower in the Bosphorus in Istanbul. And then I really enjoyed the sushi restaurant in Tokyo because it was like conveyor belt. Granted, it wasn't accessible, but the concept of it just blew my mind. I just was like, what? If the sushi's coming to me on a conveyor belt?
It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah. No, that's really cool.
Okay, I think I have a couple more questions for you. So if there was a group of people that you feel they need to watch Planes, Trains, and Canes, who are those people?
Corporate people who feel stuck with what they're doing and need a little bit of inspiration, and they need to feel like it's okay to not know. Anyone who feels afraid of not knowing and just being comfortable within themselves needs to see this. They need to learn that it's okay to be a little bit uncomfortable.
Hoby that's brilliant, by the way. And I remember talking about the state of freedom. I remember while I was traveling, thinking like, how am I going to navigate Atlanta, right? The Atlanta airport. Yeah. And then I was like, okay, Mona, it comes down to this. At each point, I either take a left, straight, or right? Yeah. Like there aren't that many options. Like I either go left, right, or straight. So when you break it down to the individual pieces, the individual steps, you realize it's not that daunting.
Said in different words, I actually wrote a long article about mindsets to overcome challenges and raise expectations. And the area that I'll send it to you because I think it's a lot of fun. The area where we speak for the longest is on breaking big, huge, momentous challenges up into a bunch of little tiny ones. That's what it's all about. Yep.
Exactly. And
you didn't know how you were going to get your PhD overnight. You didn't know how you were going to get. You didn't know how you were going to get around the Atlanta airport when you were on the plane from Boston to Atlanta. You had no idea.
Exactly. First day of PhD, I was like, how am I going to write a 200-page thesis? And I was like, okay, Mona, first figure out how to get to school. One step at a time. And I love your answer. And then my next question for you, would you like to see more of Planes, Trains, and Canes? If so, what would you like to see?
Heck yes. 100,000%. I want to see more Planes, Trains, and Canes. And I think what would be fun for the next one, Mona, is you going either in the US or in other countries and talking to people who live in these cities. And I mean, you did some of this to navigate, but I think I could see it as an interview series where you talk to people about how they, understanding their lives and, really getting to know how they use the systems, and then go learn with maybe even like, I can just see you like interviewing a transportation engineer in London about how the subway system works. Why did you make these decisions? Talking about the different melodies from the different trains in Japan. Okay, this is brilliant. What caused you to come up with that?
Yeah.
I think you need to start interviewing people.
God, that would be great. I hope. So with that, for all of our audience, if you like our Planes, Trains, and Canes, please subscribe and share it because we're trying to increase our views and would love to get funding for season 2.
Heck yes.
And finally,
thank you, Mona.
No, one more question. Any last comments? Any last thoughts or comments?
Keep doing what you're doing. keep doing what you're doing because your curiosity is infectious.
Yes, it drives me. It definitely is my driving force in life. So with that,
I love it.
thank you so much, Hoby. If you guys want to learn more about Hoby, all of his contact information and social medias will be down below. Please follow him and look into his really cool profession. And with that, thank you, Hoby, for coming. And that was Back to You, where we interview our fans and supporters. Thank you.
Thank you, Mona.
Do you want to be on Planes, Trains, and Canes? Send us an email at planestrainsandcanes@gmail.com.
Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, Planes, Trains, and Canes. You can follow us on TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And stay tuned for more episodes of Back to You.